Good morning. Today I'm going to try something different, and so I'm going to tell you why I'm here in Taiwan and also share with you some reactions to different things that I've seen here in Taiwan and some other kind of philosophical thoughts just thrown in there because it's kind of fun. So I'm here doing a hike with my great uncle, I think. He's my grandpa's older brother's son. Or is that second cousin once removed? I'm not sure, kind of confusing. But we're doing about, I think it says it's about a 5-mile hike, but it's very, very steep, so I'm dying a little bit. He said we have about 50 minutes left, but I'm dying. Whoa. This is steep. 我快要死了，你是我叔叔，还没出汗。This is so steep, it's crazy. Okay guys, we just started coming back down. I was gonna go record a video up at the top, but then we got up there and there's like 30 people there, so you're gonna have to listen to me while I'm walking. Okay? But I just want to talk a little bit about nature, because it's very interesting to see as I travel how different cultures interact with nature. And so here in Tongxiao, which is in the West Taiwan, they have a ton of hot springs. And in Taiwan in general, there's actually a lot of hot springs and waterfalls, but they're very different than the ones in the US. So if you go to like Utah, for example, there's a few hot springs that are really cool. We care a lot about nature looking very natural, whereas in a lot of other places they don't. So here in Tongxiao, for example, all of their hot springs are like part of hotels or like special resort things. So there's not really any hot springs that you can like hike to and soak in for free. You have to pay to go to any of them, which is kind of lame, but they try to make it like a nice experience. Like Taiwan and Japan and East Asia in general is really like famous for their like spas and natural hot springs and different things like that. I think we're about a sixth of the way down. This hike is like really intense actually. The first third is like semi-steep, middle third is like pretty flat, and the last third is just like straight up the mountain. So it takes forever. Not very fun on the knees, obviously, but what can you do? Basically what I'm trying to say, in the US we care a lot about nature looking natural, but in most other places that I've been at least, they care a lot more, and this probably doesn't apply for like Western Europe. Western Europe's probably more similar to the US, but most of these places, they just care a lot more about making things accessible, which I think is really cool, but obviously has its downsides too. Like when I went to Karchner Caverns in the US, they keep the caves super dark, and like there's a very limited number of places you can walk. Can't touch anything obviously, But when I went to one in China, it was all wide open. They had like a huge dance area where they have like disco lights and like a big dance floor and like a DJ stage and stuff all set up in there. And so they can like have parties. And so a lot more people can experience the caves, but they don't get to experience as much of the natural beauty. Obviously, you can still see everything in the cave. It's still beautiful. It's just interesting. We're in Morocco. When I was there, I'd go hiking, and they have a lot of like natural spring water too. And so in their natural springs, a lot of them, they put like a water bottle in the spring so that it's a lot easier for you to get water out of it and drink the spring water, even though it looks a little bit unnatural. Some people might say trashy, but it allows more people to use it. I just stumbled upon these little bugs. So cool looking. Oh, are they, looks like they might have a fight. This beetle's really cool, but this fly is like, the wings are really interesting. And at first, when I saw all this stuff in China and Morocco, I was honestly a little bit sad because I was like, they've like destroyed the nature. Even when you're going into nature, it still has this like human touch to it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that none of these ways is actually better than the others. You might prefer one, and that's fine. I think it's normal. But accessibility is also important to a lot of people. In a lot of East Asia, like China and Taiwan, there's a stereotype that their old people are super active. You know, there's always people doing Tai Chi in the parks. And a lot of people think that East Asians age better than almost any other race. And I think a lot of that is because of continual exercise, continual access to a lot of parks, a lot of hikes. There's stairs or ropes or whatever you need to be able to have kind of older people also be out in nature. So as we're hiking, we keep finding these signs right here. And there's just numbers, and apparently they're for the firefighters?
Yes.
你可以再用中文解释一下。
这是消防队给的编号，有人有需要协助的时候，可以通知消防局你人在什么地方。
Yeah, so they use it to help you find out where you are. So if you get lost or if you're hurt or anything, you can call them. There's a phone number on there, and you can just say, hey, we're at point number 7 or whatever it is. And then they can come find you. Pretty useful. I'm so tired. I did not realize how out of shape I am. This is pretty bad. Made it to the end. Last part. I can make it. We're gonna make it. Whew. Almost there.
Yeah, almost.
You're so strong.
No, it's okay.
你现在几岁？
70.
70.
Yeah.
Amazing.
1953.
1953.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This is why we need to exercise more. Starting to drive home, and yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts about this. I'd love to know if you guys agree or disagree or have other ideas about it, but it's super interesting to think about, and I think it reflects a lot of like what the culture, what's important in that culture, and what people care about. So it's a good way to get to know people in a culture before we even have to talk to them. So that's it. Like and subscribe.